Hey, welcome to Tuesday. It's the last minute show. My name is Ultra David.
I'm James Chen. How's everybody going?
Going fine. So I'm literally driving up. I just get off the freeway, coming on the way to your house, and I see a text from you. You want to do this on today's show? I'm like, sure. How about also this? And you're like, sure.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yep. Pretty much. I thought you were going to talk about there was traffic or something because it's raining in SoCal and it makes everyone bad drivers here.
Well, I was a little late in part because it's raining in SoCal and everybody is bad drivers. But also I made the stupid mistake of taking the bus today. I walked outside and I could tell it was going to rain and I just didn't even think about the fact that I probably shouldn't have taken the bus on rain day.
Good stuff.
Whatever, man. I made it. We're as on time as it seems like we ever are. Only 10 minutes late, so whatever.
People can hear us and everything just fine, right? Just want to make sure. Okay. Yeah.
Looks good? Okay, cool. So a couple things we want to talk about today.
There's a lot of little things I want to talk about. Yeah.
Little things, I would say. One thing that you and I are super excited about, of course, as always, is that the Super Turbo Revival guys have announced that there's going to be a new set of tournaments. Last year, if you'll recall, there was the Tournament of Legends that had all sorts of qualifiers from around the world, in North America and also in Asia and in Europe. Mm-hmm. And then it all finished up with the big major tournament at EVO at 11 at night or whenever it was that the top 8 was.
Which was still hype,
even
it was
though
ridiculous. It was at 11 o'clock at night.
It was ridiculous. That was some of the hypest that you and I have ever been.
I think that was probably the most energy I've ever had at 11 p.m. doing commentary, not going to lie. So.
That actually is probably true. So the cool thing about it is that it's not just the same thing as last time. Last time, there was, I think there was a team tournament, but it wasn't really a big deal.
Right.
It was the singles tournament that was the big deal.
Right. But the interesting thing about it is ST at EVO has always had very infamous team tournaments. There was always 3v3 tournaments. Like every year back in the days when Cigar Bob used to bring his cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so there was always and he had the swappable panels that could go from American to Japanese sticks. So that way the Japanese players would come and enter, and then we would be able to, have everyone be on the controllers that they were comfortable with. And
that was so sick.
Yeah, the 3v3 ST tournaments have always been kind of stables. Even one year, I think they ran it on the cabinet, like out in the hall, because that was like the only the room closed, so they had to go outside and finish it off or something like that.
Nice.
But it's always been really like a big ST event, and they're bringing it back this year.
So this year it's going to have 4 tournaments. There's the regular singles tournament, which is called the grand finale, it seems. Then there's also a ratio tournament in which you spend your points to create the perfect team from the cast. I assume that means that, like in some CVS2 and in some Marvel 2 tournaments, you pick your team, you pick your partners on your team based on which characters they use, and certain characters are given some set of numbers associated with them, and you have to add up to a maximum of some points and nothing further.
Right.
So you can have below it, but nothing above.
So let's say you can have a total of 8 points, and Vega's worth 5.
Right.
So if you pick Vega on your team, then anybody else... I'm assuming this is a team tournament, right? It's got to be a team tournament. That's the only way it would make sense. So if you had 3 people on your team, then first person picks Vega, takes 5 points. Now you got to have a team.
You have like a Blanca and a Cammy or something.
Right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Which means everyone's going to want me on their team.
You actually might be. Yeah.
So I'll let everybody pick like these amazing characters, and then I'll destroy them with Cammy.
That'd actually be really cool.
Yeah, I'll be the most sought after person ever. So
Yeah.
But I mean, some people are saying that it is singles, like how would that work? I wonder. Does that mean like if I'm ratio? So if it's singles, does that mean like if Vega is worth 5 points and Cammy is worth? Well, let's just say it's the opposite. The lower your score is, the better you are. Okay. So Vega's 1 and Cammy's 5. Does that mean Vega has to win like 5-1 versus Cammy?
Oh, that would be crazy. I don't think they're going to do that because the game isn't that imbalanced.
Yeah, I know.
I like that idea though. For some other games, that might be really cool.
All Dulcims would hate Cammys for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
Because Dulcim's top tier and Cammy's bottom tiers.
But Cammy does well against him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you pick. Maybe one player has 2 to 3 characters that you can use.
I don't see that. I just can't imagine that would mean anything.
I mean, I know that there have been some singles, effectively team tournaments where you have 3 people on your team, but it's really 3 characters that you can go through before you actually lose. I mean, I've heard of that happening
Maybe
before.
you're forced to switch characters between like a 2 out of 3. You have to switch or something. You can't use the same character twice. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's for counterpicking purposes. Like, if I play a claw or whatever, like we've been saying, and I come up. Well, he doesn't have any bad matchups. If I come up against, if I play Old Sagat and I face off against a Dalsum, maybe I want to have Cammy. Right? But maybe I can't pick both Dalsum, or maybe I'm forced to pick Dalsum and Cammy because of the ratio thing, rather than Dalsum and somebody else. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. That sounds interesting. That could be cool.
Yeah, I was curious, because, I mean, obviously, certain players like Mao are just going to use Vega the whole entire tournament, you know, and hopefully we get a lot of the Japanese players back. Yeah. Obviously, last year, the grand finals came out for the singles tournament, was Mao versus Kusamundo, which was so exciting.
So it was
only
so
if
awesome.
Kusamundo won, dude.
You know, I was rooting for it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really close.
Yeah,
he did so well. He had some things that I've literally not seen before.
Yeah.
Anti-air stand medium punch to deal with wall dive. I crap myself. It was crazy.
And of course, there's also a character lock tournament. It says choose one true world warrior through thick and thin. Well, yeah, through thick and thin, in good times and in bad. In a 9, you know, just you're stuck with that character.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of people kind of do that. But ST is known for a counter picking kind of game.
Yeah. It's interesting because ST is like the opposite of current Street Fighter 4, where in Japan, in ST, everybody just has their character that they play, and there's very little like counter picking. Whereas in America, everybody has like 2 or 3 characters, and counter picking is the name of the game. Whereas in Street Fighter 4, it's the complete opposite.
Right.
So it would be cool to see in ST people actually be forced to play. That'd actually be really cool, because the guy who's knocked me out of, I think, the last 2 major ST tournaments that I played was Jason Cole. I can beat his Dalsum, but I can't beat his Old Sagat, and he always counterpicks me with Old Sagat, and I lose.
Right.
Well, that'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess we already mentioned the fact that there's also a 3v3 tournament.
Yeah, which is the quintessential Evo tournament. So, yeah, but apparently there's going to be seeding points at a bunch of the different events as well.
Right, yeah. So SoCal Regionals already had a tournament. I guess they're going to apply some seeding to it. Winter Brawl, also Texas Showdown, Civil War, East Coast Throwdown, Northwest Majors, and Super Arcade itself is going to have some points too.
Yeah, and shoutouts to Texas Showdown, by the way. I know last year I was at Texas Showdown, and it was kind of, I mean, it was at the anime convention. We were throwing in a hallway, and Mortal Kombat was running the bathrooms and stuff like that. Right. Texas Showdown had always been like a really, really big tournament back in the days of like Guilty Gear and CVS2 and MVC2 and such. And the original guys who ran the original Texas Showdowns are coming back to this, including Javi, who was basically a staff member of SRK a long time ago. You know, he was one of the true old school guys helping us. And I know Chris Cho, I believe it is also helping run that tournament. They were the guys who ran it in the first place. So hopefully, you know, Texas Showdown will have a nice return to glory this year.
I know you and I are both considering going out to that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely intending to go out to that.
I mean, so if there's anybody who went there last year and was just like, what is this? Like, I don't want to come back, you know, please reconsider and think about going back, because it should be a lot better this year.
Especially if you're going for ST, because you can qualify for Tournament of Legends stuff. Yeah, it's really cool because, you know, obviously we just had the Evo 8th game thing.
Yes.
And ST got real close to it. It was the 3rd place, even though it had like a third of what the winning game did.
Right.
But it was 3rd place. I didn't donate to ST because I know ST is always there. Yeah. And even though I didn't know anything about this,
right,
but I just kind of assumed that I'd be able to play it there. I just kind of assumed that there would be something.
Yeah, and once again, I do, sorry to interrupt a little, but I want to give a shout out to all the guys who, because that's one of the reasons why we didn't donate, because we knew that ST Revival is being run by guys like DGV, Karopi, aka Bob Painter, Muffin Man, aka Daryl, I know Chris Gallion helps with it. Papasi helps with it. A
Right.
whole bunch of people help with that, and we know ST is in good hands. So
Right.
even if it wasn't the 8th game, we knew it was going to have a strong presence at
Right.
Evo in the form of a side tournament.
I mean, again, I didn't know what the plans were,
Right.
But I just assumed that it would be there anyway.
Yeah, I had confidence they had something up their sleeve.
Yeah,
and
it's a
here
good
it is.
bet.
So,
It's a good bet.
So-
Yeah, it's cool, and it's cool because it's gonna provide this model still that we talked a ton about, and we'd love to see with other games of people who are in the community, who some of them run tournaments like you were just saying, Galleon, but the other guys don't. They just really love the game and they're happy to organize and they're happy to make something happen and they put the word out and all this stuff, and because of that, they last year got to Evo, so they put all the stuff together before actually locking down
the top 8
8 being
yeah.
on stream at
Yes.
Evo. They didn't know about that. They were just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And then it got hype, and then
Yeah.
they just worked it out with the Evo staff, and they said, okay, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yep.
Just kind of like how Evo this year is, taking Skullgirls and saying, okay, we'll put top 8 on the stage as well.
Right. So maybe ST doesn't get on stream this year. That doesn't bug
Yeah,
me.
it doesn't matter. I mean, you follow these guys. I know Painter posts on ST Revival. I don't remember exactly if it's ST_Revival or if it's ST, but I know I follow them. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either about that.
But you can follow them and find out all the information. So
Yeah. I think it's cool because I really want to see the same thing from other communities.
yes,
Man, I would love it
Yeah.
if CVS2 had this kind of thing. I would love it if Marvel 2 had this kind of thing. I would love it if Guilty Gear did. Those are all big communities of people, even if they don't play as much anymore. There are so many people who did play those games and who still love those games and who still consider those games to be the best.
Right. Oh, just so you guys know, I mean, I don't think ST Revival has their own Twitter, but definitely follow Kuropi Painter, Bob Painter online. He's at SF2, the number KUROPPI. So you can find out all the information about ST Revival from there.
Yeah. Somebody else has got to do this. Some Marvel 2 players, some CVS 2 player, etc. has
Blaze
got
Blue, or
to...
Guilty
Guilty,
Gear,
that's what I'm saying.
Guilty
Yeah,
Gear.
somebody has got to do this stuff because it's so cool. And again, even if it doesn't get on stream, that's not even the point. The point is that I wasn't worried about ST at Evo because I figured it'd be there. I knew that I would support it if somebody did it, and I figured that some people would do it, and they did.
Yeah, the videos are going to get on YouTube, so even if you don't
Yeah.
stream it, just like I said, follow Bob Painter on Twitter, and he always tweets it, and I always retweet him as well. But follow him directly to get all the information.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not easy. I don't want to claim that this is something that's simple to put together or that it's not going to take up a ton of your time. It's probably going to be hard, and it's probably going to take up a lot of your time. But that's just something that somebody has to do.
No one's going to get anything done without spending a lot of time.
Exactly.
That's just the way the world works. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, there are all these good games for it. How awesome would it be if there was a Vampire Savior thing?
Hey, the Vampire Savior community actually is doing a very good job. I do
Totally
appreciate
true.
what they do. I appreciate what
Totally
they do.
true.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I always try to retweet it when Rotana Bor puts or does tournaments for VSAV on
Right.
Sundays.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really cool. But there's a half dozen games that could be doing what ST is doing,
Dude.
and they're not. I wish they were.
I want to see someone bring in rival schools too.
I don't know anything about that game. I don't know anything about it.
Dude, rival! Come on, there's like
I
different
literally don't know
schools.
anything about it.
They're like fighting each other, and there's like the volleyball player and the swimmer,
Really?
and the soccer player.
I've never played it.
and-
I've never
and-
seen it. I know what it is, but
Yeah.
I've just never been around it. You know? I don't know.
That was
What do
actually
you
one
want
of the
from me?
games that taught one of my friends how to do air combos, because the air
Really?
combos are so easy in that game. Like he played that game, and then he went to Marvel, and all of a sudden he could do air combos. It's actually kind of funny.
Well, how about that?
Yeah. Anyway.
Very useful, I guess. Anyway, so please, somebody do that. Somebody put that together for some other game.
All right, so no, it wasn't the first game with Sakura. Actually, Sakura was a cameo in Rival Schools. So she showed up in Alpha 2 first, and then she showed up in Rival Schools. So she was friends with Hinata. So, anyways, okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about Cross Tekken and some other
some other online and other random ideas.
Yeah, pretty much. So we're probably going to try to come up with some more ideas during the break. So. All right, be right back.
Okay, welcome back to the Tuesday show on UltraChenTV. We are in the middle of what is now a fighting game community block of shows.
That's right.
We're number 2 in what is actually 4 shows, back to back
Right.
to back to back.
How appropriate that we're number 2 in round Tuesday.
Yes.
It seems like that's the power position.
You know it, man.
Yeah,
Everything runs through us. Then we redirect it.
Exactly.
Except for Wake Up SRK, which comes before us. So let's go over there. So number 1 is Wake Up SRK with Keats SRK and also Ski Sonic. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We just have decided that Pacific time is the thing to go with. Yeah. Take that, everybody else in the world.
Most of us are in the West Coast, right? So it's only Wake Up
I mean,
SRK.
the people that matter.
I mean, that and the people doing the shows.
Oh,
right?
people. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, everybody that's doing the show is
Except
actually
for
in California.
Keats and Ski Sonic, right?
Except for them.
Yeah, but that's why they go first, because they need
They're going to be asleep.
Yeah, they're probably asleep right now.
Ski Sonic is a very early to bed kind of guy. Dude, sometimes I come home from Wednesday night fights or the run back, and Ski Sonic is still hanging out like in IRC. So. Whatever. Wake Up SRK has a lot of they cover the news of the day. They have kind of a recap, and then they always invite somebody on to talk about some interesting topic. And they have questions that they pose to this person, and it's a nice little interview. Today was Ryan Hunter. They were talking all about Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013 and his thoughts on it. And Ski's been playing the game too, so he had a nice little conversation there.
Yep, and then of course after that is us at 8:00 p.m. and we talk about whatever we decide to in the 3 minutes before the show starts. And then after following us, of course, is Cross Counter Live, with Gutex. He's been running that show back now after Mike has departed, but he's still carrying on. Yeah,
man, go check that out because it's, he always has higher production values than anybody else. He has an actual show there as opposed to 2 dudes hanging out on their couches.
Hey,
or
dude.
In the case of the other 2 shows, just guys who happen to be on Skype.
Yeah, but hey, we may be changing our surroundings in the upcoming month, so we'll see how that goes. But after that, of course, is the show That Sucks. Yeah. And that's literally what it's called. It's not a show that sucks. Actually, Hanzo's on it, so it kind of does suck.
It's pretty accurate, that title.
That's fair enough.
Honestly, it's an interesting show.
That's why Harrison's on it. He's trying to, take the suck out of Hanzo Gonzo, right? So, because he doesn't want Hanzo Gonzo to suck that much.
But Hanzo loves to suck.
He does love to suck. And I think Harrison's aware of that, but he's trying really hard to stop him from sucking.
Well, I think that's going to be a tough road because man likes to suck. It's an interesting show. They kind of ramble about stuff. They have actually a lot of really interesting and intelligent points because they're both smart people. Despite what you might think of Hanzo, considering the Twitter personality, but he's a smart guy. So. Anyway, those are the 4 shows. That's Round Tuesday every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't care what time it is where you are. That's the time. Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time is the only. We have standard time in our time zone.
That's right, except for during the half of the year when we don't.
Right, fair enough.
In which case, whatever, we're still the best.
Yeah,
we're still the best.
So. But anyways, let's move on and talk about some more things. Obviously, this weekend coming up is one of the Road to Evo events, which is Winter Brawl. And so I'm excited for that. I mean, it actually honestly feels like it's been a while since we've had kind of a major, I've been kind of getting these, Stream Monster, shakes, on the weekend because I haven't been able to watch much recently.
It's been a different kind of year than last year. It seemed like last year there was something every weekend or every 2 weekends at the most. But, yeah, since SoCal Regionals, that was more than a month ago or exactly a month ago? I think exactly a month ago.
Yeah.
And before that was Apex, but in that month there has there've been some things, but there haven't been a major like that.
And this major, we haven't seen an event for a while that's had like Justin and Dominion and all those guys in there.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of interesting because last year it was just like, oh my god, so many events. And
Yeah.
now this year I'm just like, where's my events?
Yeah.
Where's my events? You know, like seriously, I'm just like,
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's cool because there's this build-up now
Yeah.
that didn't really... It was more like, I don't want to say tiresome, but it was routine
Yes.
that there would be a big tournament. You knew there was something coming up in the next week or two, and you just...
And I didn't watch. I didn't care.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like last year it was just like, oh, here's another one. I need to go do laundry and like go out and shopping and stuff,
Yeah.
you know? But now it's just like, you know, now when Winter Ball comes on, I'm going to be watching the hell out of that this weekend.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's going to have all the games that you expect, you know, Street Fighter and Marvel and Tekken and Cross Tekken and
Mortal Kombat, Persona, all these games.
King of Fighters. I also think it's cool, though, that they're going to have Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yep.
Of course, the 8th EVO game is going to be Super Smash Bros. Melee. It won that big competition by getting almost $100,000 together. And so its reward, its reward is being not only at EVO, but it's exactly what they were looking for. It's to be taken seriously by more of the traditional fighting game tournaments, and here they're going to be at Winter Ball.
And you know, honestly, like, if you guys are watching the stream and Melee comes on, Top 8 Melee, seriously sit down, give it a shot, watch it. You know, actually one of the things that I've really wanted to do, someone like sent me a really great match between, it was like Mewtwo King and who was the other player? I can't remember what the other player was, but it was just a really great match. So many little subtle things going on. I almost just want to take that match and just like break it down one week and show the crazy, really subtle and smart things that's happening in that game. And honestly, if it comes on Winter Ball, if you watch the Top 8 on stream, you know, seriously give it a shot. The game is so much fun to watch. I mean,
I'm telling you, man, when I was at Apex, I was hanging out with some fighting game, with some Marvel and Street Fighter players, and even some Tekken guys. And we were all going nuts for Melee.
Yeah.
We really were. It was awesome. It was awesome.
I mean, it's very few times when I watch YouTube matches where I'm just sitting there and something happens and I'm just like, whoa, I kind of like jump out of my chair a little. Because that game, honestly, affords the most improvisation out of any fighting game, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Just and that whole weird risk factor when people jump off ledges to chase the guy and kill them and then jump back up. Dude, it's like my favorite part. Like every time I see that, I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
It's also going to be cool because it'll be part of the Tekken Tag Tournament 2 circuit. Collaboration between organizers, Big E and Larry with Final Round, and also East Coast Throwdown. Winner of the TTT2 tournament at Winter Brawl 7 will receive free badge entry and seating at Final Round, East Coast Throwdown, and the Fall Classic in the fall. So it's cool that they, on the East Coast, the kind of like mid seaboard to northeast tournaments, are going to be, actually doing something together.
Right.
Which has been a rarity. They really haven't done that often, and it's for a game that feels like it hasn't been getting as much of a spotlight as I definitely expected, and feel that it definitely deserves.
Right.
Which is Tekken Tag Tournament 2. So I think that's going to be really cool. I'm also really looking forward to Street Fighter Cross Tekken as a little segue.
Yeah.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013 is a new game. It's different than it was before in the game mechanics and in the character balance, and it's also different in the way that people seem to be taking it, competitively speaking.
Yeah.
People are taking it more seriously.
There was also a really good point that you mentioned on Twitter, and a few other people mentioned this as well. One of the reasons why I'm curious to see it played is because I just want to see if... I feel like a lot of the top players are still playing it like Street Fighter 4, and you mentioned this, your comment was that you feel like the people who are playing online are better than the people who are playing offline.
Yes, I do feel that way, and I feel like that's a first for a major fighting game to have. I think it's kind of an interesting sign of the times, in a way, that the online section is just more competitive and has better players who know what they're doing better than the offline part. But, it's not just that. There's a whole host of unusual factors that went into that, like the fact that the offline scene mostly died, and it was kind of down to the online scene to keep it going,
right.
And so they did, and they effectively played the game for 6 months longer than everybody else. So, of course, they're going to be better. But it's really interesting because I will tell you this. Watching Wednesday Night Fights, watching Big 2, I am not impressed. I think that those players are not good. Okay? Look, you know who got second place last week and third place the week before? Hung B. All right, Hung B is a good player who I play with all the time online, and we go even. And if somebody's going even with me, they shouldn't be winning a tournament. Okay, it's not how it should be. I'm serious. I'm not that great, but I got to winner semifinals of Wednesday Night Fights the last time I went there. It's so weird. Because I really think that the offline play has been lackadaisical, and I think that a lot of the top players, even in addition to the fact that some of the top players didn't go to Wednesday Night Fights and didn't go to Big 2, people who are there are just doing weird stuff. Like, people would punish with, like, jab, strong, fierce launcher.
Right. And we talked about that early on. Like, even in vanilla, we had a whole episode where, like, you're playing it wrong, do something different, and...
I mean, really, though, it's remarkable how it seems like they have not only not had that 6 months worth of time, but haven't played the game somehow in the last month of playing the game. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking forward to in Winter Brawl is to see whether they have done anything, and I'm not sure. I mean, I've been watching Justin Wong play online. You know, he's had some streams up. I've been watching PR Balrog play online because he's had some streams up too, and you know, they have been doing some new stuff. So Justin is playing Elisa, which are at least 2 new characters, which is forcing him to actually learn, you know, new stuff, and not just playing Street Fighter 4 in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which is good. But I'm not sure whether other people are going to have been doing that. I'm telling you, man, like, from playing online in the last couple weeks in Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2013, they are just way far ahead. They're way far ahead.
That much different, huh?
It really is, man. The technology is ridiculous. I get mixed up like crazy. Things that I've never seen. I feel like every night I come across something that I haven't seen before. Huh. Like some significantly new thing.
Interesting.
You know?
Interesting.
Whereas in playing offline, you don't see that. At least I haven't seen it on streams, and I haven't seen it in the tournaments that I've entered. So
I mean, if you are an online cross Tekken player, and you play a lot, and you live anywhere near Philadelphia, you know, go to Winter Brawl. Go beat up some people. I would love to see what happens. I would love to see what happens.
This is the time to strike. Because if Cross Tekken does last in kind of like a major way, then these top players are going to keep playing the game, and they're not going to be bad at it forever. They're not just going to be coasting on their talent forever. They're going to actually learn the game at some point, and then it's going to get real tough for you. And you know,
so win now.
That's what I'm saying. Now is the time to strike, and it's good because, you know, even as I say that the level of online play is higher than the level of offline play, it's higher in a different kind of way. The fundamentals aren't really as much there. A lot of players are good and have good fundamentals, but I wouldn't quite say it's up there with some of the top players. But they have so much game knowledge, they have so much technology that it's fine. It will let them win. Now's the time to make that work out. So, yeah, I hope that they show up to Winter Brawl. I also hope that the level of offline play gets better in general. But in the meantime, if you want to play this game, it is an online game. It really is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's interesting that the team that Justin has picked, Elisa and Elena, or Elisa, I think is actually what the order is. I was really surprised to see him pick Elena.
Elena wasn't very good, or...
Honestly, I don't know terribly much about her, but whenever I've seen her be played, and for like the 5 minutes I screwed around with her when she came out, she didn't seem good to me.
Right. And also, yeah, that's actually another thing that I'm really curious about right now, is that, you know, there are all these characters that nobody really knows anything about. I mean, we had, who was it? Flash Metroid talking about how amazing he thinks Bison is in this game.
That's wrong.
But yeah. Right, with other people like yourself and Viscant, just like talking about how bad he is, and so it's just really cute.
There are certainly lots of debates going on.
I can't wait to see how this
One cool
out.
thing is that Jibbo has been taking requests on Shoryuken and also on Twitter from people who say, you know, who identify a particular character as being bad. So I said I thought Hugo's the worst in the game. Other people said that they think Blanca is the worst in the game, and he picks this team and he finds this stupid chip setup out of it that guarantees himself 200 chip damage unless the opponent alpha counters.
Wait, with Hugo?
Hugo and Blanca. So what you do is you do Hugo's EX Lariat, where it goes pop, pop, right? And then you switch cancel. Over to Blanca, you hop through to the opponent's other side, and then you do strong electricity. And it chips for 200 damage. I mean, that's really good.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, on the other hand, it costs him 2 bars. I can alpha counter out of it for 1.
Right.
So I don't know if it's amazing, but it's good. So there's a lot of tech to be found. There's a lot of new stuff. Lots of exploration in the game that can be done. It's a as far as that style of game goes, as far as the Street Fighter style of game goes, I think it definitely has more creativity. It's not like quite to Marvel levels in terms of creativity, but it's a very creative game. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back to Tuesday. So it's not a mistake that we have League of Legends listed as the game that we're playing. I just wanted to see whether there was any bump we could get out of that in terms of viewers. It doesn't really seem to be real.
Right.
It doesn't really seem to be working.
Yeah.
But, there's been some League of Legends news.
Speaking of, yeah, exactly. Obviously, in Season 3, Marn, the big news out of there is Team Marn making it in there as the underdogs.
Yeah, and, deservedly so, it turns out.
Yes,
because they're getting blown
up. Themselves to be the absolute.
I'm so sad that
underdogs.
I'm really sad that there is no live audience that can watch.
Whoops! People are saying that we didn't have any sound. Can you hear us now? Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I think some people just have the volume too low. So.
Was there really no sound though? I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway,
but yeah, Marn is a fraud.
Yes, Marn is a fraud, it turns out, to everybody's surprise. What? No, I don't know, man. I wish those guys the best of luck. But
so far they're going to need a lot more than luck.
It seems like they are going to need a little bit more than that.
Right.
But man, there's no live audience to be able to yell, "Get fucked."
I know, right? Dude, I wanted to go, because Riot's like literally around the corner from where I live.
Yeah. Super
so
close.
I could walk there, and I just want to walk in there and just, like you said, just yell, get fucked,
yeah.
all day.
I don't care who gets the kill. I don't care what the situation is. If Marn wins, if Marn loses, I just want to yell that. That's all. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah.
I think I'm being pretty reasonable.
Yeah. But, I mean, here's the interesting thing, though. I mean, obviously, I've been kind of ensconced in a lot more League of Legends recently. I know Kelly's been playing it, so I've been watching her play a lot. Marn, Team Marn, so I've been kind of paying attention. And, the more and more I watch League of Legends and what people are doing when they play it, the more genius I feel like the game is in terms of not as like as necessarily a competitive game, but as a way to keep people playing it, keep people hooked on it.
I hear that.
And I don't know, this free-to-play model, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I keep trying to figure out ways to apply it to fighting games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I keep trying to think of a way to do this because...
Well, but before we continue, we just want to say that he did point out that he didn't say competitively speaking. He meant as a way to get people to keep playing.
Right.
Okay, so everybody who's talking about Dota right now, we're aware that Dota is probably the more competitive of the two.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
That's not what he's talking about.
Not what I'm talking about at all. My point is that when you play League, right, you have these levels that you're building up. You get these in-game points to unlock champions, right? You want to get these runes, and eventually you can get rune pages. You can't do ranked matches until you're level 30. What you can't, was it phase until you're level 12 or something? Was it flash? Flash. You can't flash until you're level 12. There's this weird sense of, always chasing after something, always progressing. And as you keep playing, you build in-game points, you level up. They even have, talk about genius. They have those experience boosters that work for 3 days. So
that you can pay to get more experience for a certain period of time.
But it's only for 3 days, so you have to play crazy for those 3 days. Yeah. So I just kept thinking about this. Can you imagine a fighting game like this, where when you first start playing, there's 2 sections. There's the ranked stuff and the non-ranked stuff, right? So there's something that feels more important than the other. And then when you start, you build in-game points to buy more colors, to buy more costumes and stuff like that. Or you can buy them outright if you want to. But what if you made it so that when you first started, you didn't have access to EX or Ultra? You just played, with nothing. And then what will happen is it'll kind of teach players to play more fundamentally, like learn how to play more fundamental, because they're not relying on certain things. They have to learn how to use the normals and specials a little bit more. And then after you get to, like, let's say level 5, all of a sudden you get access to EX moves, and you get to level 10, you get access to supers, and 15 you get ultras or something like that. Almost kind of as a way to teach you how to play the game and force you to... Because you know how a lot of times we talk about it, like, sometimes the best way to train online is just to say, take away my favorite option and play without my favorite option and see if I can still win. And then you learn your character more robustly. What if it was something like that? I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking about it. And then you just get this sense of progress. Like, I gotta keep playing because I gotta get my EXs. I gotta keep playing because I want to get my special, my ultra combo. I want to keep, because I want to start winning with my ultra combo. I see these other guys doing ultras, and I want to do ultras. So you just sit there and grind. Because the biggest problem to me is that when you play Street Fighter Online the first day, it's the exact same thing as when you play the last day. So nothing changes in between. And, obviously that can be a good thing, but at the same time, I just feel like that's what causes people to stop playing.
Well, okay, so as a way to keep people playing, maybe that will work. It does work with LoL. I agree, those people are geniuses. At Riot, ridiculous. They're such good business people.
Exactly.
It's remarkable.
They're the smartest people when it comes to this. So.
As far as the game's competitive value, I mean, I don't even play Dota, and I can see that LoL is lacking in some respects. I know that as for me playing the game, it's been really frustrating, man. I just got to level 12. I can finally have Flash, which is like this really important thing for a lot of situations and roles. And I can finally do it. The fact that I didn't have it didn't want to make me play more.
Okay.
It was a frustration. I would have preferred to play with whatever I could play with at the start. I would have preferred to. I mean, look, if I'm playing top and I'm in some matchup that is like a good matchup, but I don't have any like runes or masteries, I'm gonna get my butt kicked because that's just how it is. That's stupid. I hate that. So I mean, I think that Dota is a better thing to look at, but that's really frustrating to me that there is this limit. And again, if the goal is just get people to play, maybe that works. But I think that tournaments would be super hard.
Right.
Playing a tournament in that kind of game would be super hard, and maybe that's part of why Riot controls LoL so much, because it's hard to play a tournament in that game unless you have everything unlocked.
Right.
So either you're going to spend a crap ton of money, or you're going to spend a crap ton of hours, or you're just going to get Riot to unlock your stuff so you can play a tournament. Right. So I don't like that. That's frustrating to me that I have to deal with that. It would be super annoying to tournament organizers. But again,
well, I mean, it doesn't affect offline play at all.
Oh, this is online only.
This is only online.
Okay, fine. Okay, I think that's a different thing then. I think that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But would people want to play online in that situation, do you think? Do you think that they could go from playing a versus mode thing against their friends, even if they suck at the game, even if they're brand new and just derping around? Do you think that they would want to go from something where they could do this cool-looking ultra combo, and then they want to play against other people, somebody living on Mars or something, and they have to not use an ultra, they're stuck with normals? I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, right now, I think one of the biggest problems is just that the online is so lacking for fighting games. There's no experience online. Like, there's literally no experience. When you go to a Battle.net or you go to League of Legends, there's like all these stats. You just have this collection. I just feel like something needs to be done to turn online into a more robust experience, more quest-like. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself goals. And this BP business is garbage. I mean, BP is like the worst thing in the world, especially with, pulling and disconnects and stuff like that.
Yeah, BP and PP and all that stuff are stupid, for sure.
And so, I don't know, like, it drives me crazy because we always talk about this. We're like, I should go online and play more games and everything like that. I have no motivation to go online and play. I just don't. Like, I don't ever feel like going on because I get this laggy experience and I'm just like, I'd rather just go to training mode.
Well, okay, what if instead of all this extra stuff, there was just really good online play that was, like, solid, that, didn't...
If they recorded every match I've played and they had stats and you've used this many EX, this is the move you use the most. You've gotten hit out of your EX drill this many times. You've gotten hit out of your EX uppercut this many times. Like, if they actually had good stats, like on Wake Up, you did a reversal this many times. And out of all those reversals, 98% of them were uppercuts, 1% of them were ultras, and then, if they did stuff like that, I would play online all day. I would play online all day.
I don't think that would be useful to me, but that's not why I do or don't play online. I'm just playing online because I enjoy playing the game and I want to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
And even on games that have crappy online play, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I still play online all the time because it's useful to see new things.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because for us, we're hardcore fighting gamers, so of course we're going to stick with it. We love that.
Yeah.
We love that shit, right? So we're going to play that all day. But I'm just worried about like the people who are not playing, who are casual play. I mean, look how many people, like, as soon as they start League of Legends, they're done. They're in it.
They fade away. I know.
They're in it.
Yeah.
They're
trapped.
You do not see a lot of people who start League of Legends and they just go, yeah, and stop. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't happen because they have this down to a science. This weird like lure. The dangling the carrot in front of your face.
They definitely do. I mean, to be fair, Dota has a lot of grasp on people like that, and it doesn't have the same kind of anti-competitive, start out at base level of crappiness and end up being good. It doesn't have that. So I think that might just be, in a sense, the fact that kind of game is really popular right now. Certainly you're right that part of the reason that League is like that is that it has all these extra hooks into you. So hey, if there were some fighting game that were like that didn't try to take itself too seriously, then I would be fine with that. If there was a game that could be really popular, and it did play like that it did have this level up sort of thing. You start with normals, you work up to ultras or whatever. That's fine, to the extent that it would send people over to the good games. So hey, I understand why people are frustrated when it comes to League. I get it. If you're a Dota fan, that would frustrate the crap out of me. That was the popular one, and not as much Dota. So I don't know. I guess that's my take on it. And by the way, to the idea that somebody would be good by the time that they get through all of those levels of progression, I've played against plenty of people who are just horrible in League of Legends. Even as I'm like level 10 or 12 or something, they're level 30, and I play with people who are level 30 already, so I get matched up against these good players, or these higher level players. They still suck.
Yeah, I mean, what I would have done probably in a fighting game format of that is that, you could have these challenge modes where you get paired, like, you're like, I just want to jump to the next level, and you challenge someone at that level, and you automatically play them. If you can beat them, then all of a sudden you play them. Then you jump up 5 levels automatically, if you're good enough to beat them or something like that. It would be an interesting way to do it. I would come up with different ways so you could get past those crappy periods. Because, I mean, like, you don't want to... It's like whenever I used to get a DDR game, I'd always play all the songs on, like, basic just so I could AAA all of them, just to have the record there. And then I would go through the medium, and it was just a chore. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to go straight to the heavy steps. So,
right.
I know you know all about that. So
about rhythm games?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Simon Says the game? Yeah, that's
exactly.
right. That's my favorite thing.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't see that as being... the best thing for fighting games or for fighting game players. Maybe it would convince some extra people to join, but I feel like a big part of why League is so big is that it's piggybacked on what was already a lot of growth for that kind of genre, and they've put a ton of money behind it, and they have just an amazingly well built player that like links you to tournament coverage and to community stuff. And it's easy to make and be part of a community in that situation, and it's easy to follow and watch good players in that situation. And there's all the super smart stuff that I would much rather have fighting game developers and publishers copy before they even think about doing things like the level up sort of system.
Yep, but I would just like to see a better online, because I just think online's lacking.
That's fair enough.
Now, so
I think that's fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, rhythm games are horrible.
They're the best. They're the best.
Any game that the theory best...
Are we going to get on this?
Any game that the theory best is a computer, is a blind computer that doesn't need any thinking power, is a bad game.
That's the whole point of the game, is to get into a zone. Do you understand? When you're
No.
playing Beat Mania and you see all those letters and you can do the whole thing without making any mistakes and getting perfects on all of them,
Yeah.
the euphoria and zone that you get into that is just, it's existential. You reach a higher plane when you're playing those things.
What if I gave you points for painting my fence white? I was like, man, this fence painting game is going to be the best. Get up here, and if you paint the fence totally white, oh man, you're going to get all sorts of points, and you can redeem them for nothing, but hey,
But
check
see,
out your
there's-
score. You'll
there's
be able to write your name, James.
There's no zen. There's no zen in it.
No?
There's no zen.
But
in
why?
it. Because there's something about being... It's just like playing a guitar, right? If all you're doing is learning to play your favorite song that you hear on the radio on the guitar, aren't you just doing Simon Says? No. You're doing it because you want to learn the skill to
It's
be able
to
to
be
do
creative, which is great.
Right.
It's to
And
ultimately be
It's a
creative.
skill that you can learn. The reason why rhythm games are so good is it's the only game out there that you can jump from one game where you're amazing at, play the new one, play a brand new song, and you could double A that song right there on the spot because you gained a skill and you gained a talent.
Okay, I mean, you can
can't
be
do
the world's
that on
best.
a-
You
can't
can be the
do
world's
that on
best
a-
fence painter.
You can't do that on a platforming game. There's this
you're right.
existential zone kind of thing, right? So,
Yeah, I'm telling you though.
anyways.
Fence painting, the game. Tom Sawyer knew what he was talking about, man. Or Huck Finn. It was Huck.
It was
yeah.
Huck.
Yeah.
It was Huck, yeah.
Huck.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Anyways, yeah.
I guess
Relevant
that's-
topics.
Yeah, I know.
Relevant topics.
Yeah, I guess that's it for today. But keeping in mind with the Round Tuesday thing that we brought up before, we are now at precisely the middle level of this 4-part block that happens every Tuesday night. Coming up next is going to be Cross Counter Live.
Yep. And just as a way to end it, if you do get good at painting fences, you will be able to kill everyone with M Bison and CVS2 in A groove mode. There you
All
go.
right.
All right. Peace out.
After Cross Counter is the show that sucks, so make sure that you stick around for that one.
All right.
Have a good
Peace
night.
out, everyone.